Hey, welcome back to the Jim Walker Archery Workbench. And guess what this is? Ha, that's a camera. And you guess what I'm going to do with the camera? Of course, I'm going to put it on an arrow. All right, so there's my little camera that I got. It only took about a month or two to get from China. So I have all kinds of little gadgets that are going to go along with it. This is even a waterproof container. I'm not going to use that because it's way too expensive. Let's see, I made a few notes. So with the case, it's like 500 grains for this little camera with the case, and that's just way too much for an arrow. The camera itself is just 260 grains, and the arrow I'm going to use is a flu-flu. And obviously, why do I want to use a flu-flu? Because it flies slower. I don't really want to totally blow my camera up on the first try. So this is some nice flu-flu arrow that I had made a while back. So we're actually going to use that. All right, so I had a few ideas on how I was going to go ahead and set this up. And in the end, I thought, well, yeah, I could try tape and I could try all kinds of fancy options. But I think in the end, I think I'm going to go with a Velcro. I'm going to use these super strong 50-pound whatever Velcro straps, and I'm going to set that up with I'm going to place the actual camera about 2 inches from the end, and I'm going to place it right about here. I'm going to take this little piece of rubber right here, and I'm going to place that on there, and then we're going to wrap the Velcro around it. And then we're going to put a piece of Velcro on that, and then a Velcro on that. And once we're done, I'm going to put some padding, some actual tape padding that I've used for some other projects. I'm going to make it bouncy by the time I'm done. All right, so what I'm going to do first is figure out how much Velcro I need, because I really don't have an unlimited amount of really good Velcro to use for this project. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a little bit of masking tape, my favorite stuff, and we're going to figure out how much I need. So I'm going to grab this. Alright, and some scissors. Alright, so let's figure out the circumference of this particular arrow. It's not that, it's relatively thick, so let's see what we have here, here. Alright, so that piece of tape is, that arrow's roughly, well, actually it's exactly 1 inch around. That's pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to put that aside, and where's that little piece of rubber that I had a moment ago that I use as my base? What'd I do with it? Well, I just had it here a moment ago. Where'd it go? Here it is. All right, so let's go ahead and grab a board. What I want to do is I just want to cut this down a little bit. Cut down the edges. I just want to make it squarish. And this is just going to make it easier for when I put it on the arrow itself. Alright. Alright. And there. Alright, so it's going to go literally like this, and it'll contrast. It's going to go like this, and then we're going to put the Velcro around it. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want this to be flat. I want the actual Velcro part that's going to be connecting to the bottom of the camera. I want that to be perfect, as flat as possible. So we're going to figure out how to do that. It shouldn't be too hard. If the Velcro is not strong enough, we'll probably use some glue just to kind of hold it on. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, we got Velcro. With the flu arrow, we don't care so much what direction the feathers are, but I'm going to try to be close to exact. Let me put a little marker on here. Okay, so I figure about 2 inches from the end. Alright, so if that is the end, we figure about 2 inches here. So let's just say it's going to be right in that area. Well, you know what? Markers are wonderful things. So let's go ahead and mark that 2 inches. You don't need to be exact, just whatever. Somewhere in the close area. Okay, Velcro. We're going to take this little piece of Velcro. We know that it's 1 inch circumference, so we're going to do a little bit longer than that. All right. About 1.25 inches. And this is called dual lock Velcro. Stuff is crazy, crazy strong. Look at this. You put this on there, it is never coming off. Okay, so now that we have that done, now we're going to go ahead and take the backing off of our Velcro. This is like some seriously strong adhesive as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and place that right smack dab in the middle. Now, keeping in mind, this is what you're seeing is me just doing this all the first time, so it's very possible I'm going to totally mess it up. All right, so we've got about 2 inches out. I'm going to put our Velcro down about where we want it. Push down nice and hard. And we're going to wrap that. Wrap that down. Okay, so again, the goal is that this top area is going to be pretty flush. Now that Velcro doesn't go all the way down to the bottom, and you know what? I could probably glue that and it would probably hold. I can tell you right now that this is like super strong on the arrow itself. Now let me debate this a little. If I'm going to put this on the arrow and it's just going to fly off, but what if I was to glue that? Would that be better or worse? Interesting. Well, I'll tell you what, the sticky adhesive is really, really strong. Yes, I could probably put on the bigger piece of Velcro and it would wrap it around more fully. Wow, this really is on strong. You know what? I'm just going to leave it like this because I want to leave this as light as possible. But notice the intention here was to make this little shelf right here so that our little camera will be on top. Okay, so on to the next step. What I'm going to do next is we want to set up a test because I don't want to destroy my camera in the first time I shoot it. So back to when I received the camera, it included a case. Now it turns out that the case is as heavy as the camera. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use the case as my test. So I'm going to take some of that earlier Velcro that we had. Where to go? All right, so here's another part of that Velcro. And we're going to go ahead and put it on the back side of the case. Now, of course, I could, if I was shooting this arrow into the water, I could potentially put the camera in the case and shoot it up and into the water. That would be fun, wouldn't it? All right, so let's go ahead and figure out how this works. Okay, this is the front, and that's the back. So just in case I ever do actually want to use this particular case, I want to put it on the right way. All right, so this is the front, and the button's on the inside. So that means I want to put the sticky here. All right. Wow, that stuff goes on. It is not coming off, ever. All right, so there it is. That's coming on. All right, so there's my little dummy camera, ready to go. And take that fella on right here, and I'll put it here. And I'm going to take the back, and I'm going to stick it on. There we go. And it locks. All right, so that locks. Now, obviously, not very stable. The thing's going to be all over the place, I suspect. But that's actually holding on pretty well. What I would do next is I go out and shoot the arrow into a target with some soft something underneath it and see whether it flies off or not. But it's looking pretty stable. I think the next step would be to, I'm going to put some two-step epoxy, take my camera off. That thing is hard. I'm going to put some two-part epoxy on here and glue this on really nicely so that my base is solid, and then let that dry. And then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so that covers the setup part of the video. So the next step will be to take her down to the park and see how she flies.